A reading of Agrippa. Hello, everybody, and today we continue our reading of the 3 books of occult philosophy by Henry Cornelius Agrippa. This is one of the great occult classics, actually published. Book 1, which we're reading, was published in 1531. So this is this is probably the most important book on magic from the Renaissance. So this is from the 16th century. All right. And today we continue with the 3 books of occult philosophy. Book 1, chapter 7. Of the kinds of compounds, what relation they stand in to the elements, and what relation there is between the elements themselves, earth, air, fire, and water, and the soul, senses, and dispositions of men or humans. So we're going to go ahead and dive into this. This is part of our readings. And this is talking about the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water. So here we go. And I'm going to provide a monetized link. Anyone wants to buy a copy, I've got a link on Amazon in the description for a copy of the 3 books of occult philosophy. Okay, chapter 7. And we're getting into these 16th century magic texts. Okay, from the Renaissance. Next, after the 4 simple elements, follow the 4 kinds of perfect bodies compounded of them. And they are stones, metals, plants, and animals. So again, this is Agrippa has the 3-world model, the elementary realm, the celestial or astrological, and then the divine, the 3 realms. And that's why there's 3 books of occult philosophy. So, and they are stones, metals, plants, and animals. And although unto the, and these are used in magic, stones such as this is associated with my birth Shem angel, Mitzrael. This is chrysoprase. So stones are used in magic, metals for talismans, plants, and animals. You could find bones in nature, things like that. Anyways, they are stones, metals, plants, and animals. And although unto the generation of each of these, all the elements meet together in the composition, yet every one of them follows and resembles one of the elements, which is most predominant. For all stones, and again, this is just like this Renaissance magic mindset from the 16th century. It says all stones are earthy. So elements, it's not talking about periodical elements. It's talking about something much more broad. Like there could be the 4 types of personality, 4 types of, you can analyze anything according to this. So, for all stones are earthy, for they are naturally heavy and descend, and so hardened with dryness, and they cannot be melted. But metals are waterish, and may be melted, which naturalists confess, and chemists find to be true. That is, that they are generated of a viscous water, or waterish argent V. Plants or living silver. Plants have such an affinity with the air, that unless they be broad in the open air, they do neither bud nor increase. So all animals are have in their natures a most fiery force, and also spring from a celestial source. So here he's saying that broadly, all stones, rocks or stones or crystals can be considered earth. All metals, water. All plants, air. And all animals fiery. And fire is so natural to them, to animals, that being extinguished they presently die. And again, every one of those kinds is distinguished within itself by reason of degrees of the elements. For amongst the stones, they especially are called earthy, which are dark or heavy. And those stones are called watery, that are transparent, so like clear stones are considered more watery, which are transparent and are compacted of water, as crystal, beryl, and pearls in the shells of fishes, so pearls. And they are called airy, the stones which swim upon the water, and are spongious, as the stones of a sponge, the pumice stone, and the stone sulphus. And they are called fiery, out of which fire is extracted, like flint, or which are resolved into fire, or which are produced of fire, as thunderbolts, firestones, and the stone asbestos. So, broadly speaking, according to Agrippa, all stones are earthy, all metals are watery, all plants airy, and all animals fiery. But within each category, there's a predominant. So there are fiery stones, earthy stones, watery stones, etc. Also amongst metals, lead and silver are earthy. So now it's talking about metals. Although all metals are considered water from one perspective, also amongst metals, lead and silver are earthy. Quicksilver, or mercury, is watery. Copper and tin are airy. And gold and iron are fiery. In plants, and remember plants, broadly speaking, are associated with air by Agrippa. In plants, also the roots resemble the earth by reason of their thickness. And you could say like earth vegetables that grow in the earth or deep into the earth are considered more earthy. And the roots are earthy. In plants also the roots resemble the earth by reason of their thickness, and the leaves water because of their juice, flowers the air because of their subtlety, and the seeds the fire by reason of their multiplying spirit. So within each plant you could say the roots are earthy, the leaves watery, the fragrant or the flowers airy, and etc. Okay. All right. Besides, they are called some hot, wine cold, sonic moist, some dry, borrowing their names from the qualities of the elements. Amongst animals, and broadly speaking, animals associated with fire, but amongst animals also, borrowing their names from the qualities, amongst animals also, some are in comparison of others earthy, and dwell in the bowels of the earth, like animals that live deep in the earth, as worms and moles, and many other small creeping vermin. Others are watery, as fish. So fish are clearly associated with water. Others airy, which cannot live out of the air, like things that fly in the air. Others also are fiery, living in the fire, as salamanders, and crickets, such as are of a fiery heat, as pigeons, ostriches, lions, and such as the wise man calls beasts breathing fire. Besides in animals, now within each animal, the bones resemble earth, the flesh air, the vital spirit fire, and the humors the water. So, and these humors also partake of the elements. For yellow color is instead of fire, blood instead of air, phlegm instead of water, and black color or melancholy instead of earth. And lastly, in the soul itself, according to Augustine, the understanding resembles fire, your reason or your logic, air, the imagination, water, and the senses, the five senses, the earth. So clearly, within each person, you can divide anything according to the four elements. And these senses also are divided amongst themselves by reason of the elements. For within the senses in general are considered earthy. But within the senses, which are all earthy, for the sight is fiery, neither can it perceive without fire and light. The hearing is airy, for a sound is made by the striking of the air. The smell and taste resemble the water, without the moisture of which there is neither smell nor taste. And lastly, the sense of touch is wholly earthy, and takes gross bodies for its object. Actions. The actions also, and the operations of man are governed by the elements. The earth signifies a slow, firm motion, The water signifies fearfulness and sluggishness and remissness in working. Air signifies cheerfulness and an amiable disposition, but fire a fierce, quick, and angry disposition. The elements, therefore, are the first of all things, and all things are of and according to them, and they are in all things and diffuse their virtue through all things. So that is chapter 7 of Agrippa, talking about how the 4 elements of earth, air, fire, and water, how you can look at stones, plants, animals, metals, according to the 4 elements. Within a plant, the root is earthy, the leaves are watery, the flowers airy, etc. Within the animals, like, you can divide any of these things according to the 4 elements. And interestingly, this is where the Hermetic Order, the Golden Dawn, and everything was drawing from. You could see it, like, modern magic takes these things for granted. That the imagination is watery, the reason or logic airy, etc., etc. So the temper or anger fiery. So we have different personality types. We have different parts of ourselves that are associated with the 4 elements. And so this is the wellspring. This is where you get a lot of our modern magic ideas. Comes right out of the 16th century source. So we're getting to some of these foundations of Western esotericism, or whatever you want to call it, these traditions. So that is today's reading of Agrippa, a short little excerpt. Our next reading will be chapter 8, how the elements are in the heavens, in the stars, in devils, in angels, and lastly in God himself. That is the next one. Talks about how the elements are even reflected up into the celestial and all these realms. So there's like the zodiac signs according to the elements and all of that, and talks about how there's spirits of air, spirits of fire. So that's the next chapter. Yep, I'm going to have more stuff coming out for y'all. So that was just a quick reading, a little excerpt here from the 3 books of occult philosophy. Highly recommend this book. Very important, very foundational, this text. And thank you so much for joining me, and I will see y'all in the next video. Have a great day, y'all.